What's up, guys? Thanks for coming back to join my channel. Today I'm going to walk you through my first Raceflight setup, build with the Win 5 frame and the Bolt 2 and the Revolt V3 with some 2207 Brother Hobby 2500 kV motors on. So stay tuned to check it out. So I'm going to put one motor on here just to show you how I do it. So what I'll do is I'll usually put put some motor screws in here without Loctite first, just to get the motor set down in there. Usually for this particular one it's going to take two, just because of the how the wires are sticking up like here, so I have to take two. Normally I just put one in there, but I have to take two to keep it from to push it down. So I just get one started here. Of course, try not to cross thread. And these are 8mm screws with the butt heads on them. So just go ahead and put these down nice and tight. Make sure the other holes there line up. And then what I do is I get me some Loctite, some blue Loctite. This is the kind I use. Usually get me a little junk mail here. Put a little bit on there, just like that. Go ahead and get my screw on the end here. And just put a little bit on the tip there. And then put in these other two here. Tighten that down nice and tight. Get my next one here. Of course, remember the ones that have Loctite on it, because you will take the other two out once you get this nice and solid there. I'll usually pull them in really tight first. Take these other two out. Put a little bit more on the tip there. I usually don't take a lot of Loctite. Just a little bit on the tip there, just to keep that screw from vibrating back out. And once I have them make sure all four are nice and tight. Then, because I want some vibration isolation with these TPU ends here, I'm just going to back this each screw out just about a half a turn. Just like that. And then the Loctite will keep it from coming unscrewed more. And then that will give that some isolation there. And then, of course, make sure that you don't have your motor in a bind, that it spins freely. So that's usually how I install a motor on my quads. And if you'll notice that them guards do give it some bump protection to where it doesn't hit the motor, the bell. So that's good. So I'll be right back after I install all the motors. So I've got the motors on, and what I was thinking about is, first of all, I put some heat shrink over the wires right here in order to kind of protect them and to keep them from getting tangled up in anything. And then also, if we can focus, right here is a point that may rub into the wires eventually, and then right here against the standoff. So I'm going to put a little heat shrink around the standoff here, and then for this area right here to keep from any rubbering on the frame there. Hopefully the wires won't become rubbed or anything like that. Also, we'll most likely be putting some guards like this, little TPU guards, for whenever the props are bent and they hit the arm, they don't actually cut my wires right there. They'll hit this TPU when they're bent down. I don't know about how far I'm going to put it from the motor here, but I think this will keep from the bent props from cutting the motor wires. These things don't weigh that much. I might add a couple grams to my build, but that's okay. In the name of protection, I'm going to start by pre-tinning some pads on the Raceflight Revolt. First of all, because I'm going to be running FreeSky with telemetry, I'm going to pre-tin some pads here. But first I have to pre-tin this pad here to be on 5 volts, and then I have to pre-tin these two pads to bridge the inversion for the TX1. Alright, so we're going to do that now. Just to double check that I don't have any continuity between the non-inversion pad, I'm going to take my voltage meter here, see what happens. So of course these looks like they're making a connection. Just to double check, I don't feel I'm not getting any continuity between them two pads there. But I am. The two pads are supposed to be connected together. It just looks so. Alright, so got my pads here pre-tinned here, and then I've got my FreeSky ground, FreeSky 5 volts, and FreeSky S bus. And then this is where the smart audio is going to go, or smart port for your VTX. and then this will be S port for your FreeSky. I'm going to go ahead and install my Raceflight gummies. Be the first gummies I've ever put in. So just wanted to show you how fun it is. Alrighty, got the gummies in. They were not fun. And I can just see breaking off a capacitor or something trying to get them in. So I'm fixing to start preparing my XT60. I do like to put a male and a female together. So when that heats up, that these pins don't move, and it does keep them from getting out of alignment. Focus up a little bit there, and do make sure that when you're the XT60 side that you're doing for the quadcopter is the female end, and this is the male end. Basically, I don't use any. If you use the male and you use it on your battery, and then I've got 14 gauge wire. I used to do 12 gauge wire, but from everyone I've talked to, 14 gauge is enough, and it will be a little bit lighter. Plus, it's a little bit easier to get into this XT60. So first, I'm going to trim some off here, and make sure that that I can get it inside the connector here, and that it gets in there far enough to where it's not going to pull out on you, or at least a good solid connection. So I'm going to trim just a little bit more off here to get it all the way down in there. There we go, that's a little bit better. Alright, and to about the same off of the positive here. Now, of course, you can do any color wire that you want, but I do like to keep it red for positive and black for negative, just for the simple fact that if you get confused, you'll always know which is what. And you know, when you're in the air, I don't think the different color wire is going to make that big of a difference. I used to stick it in there and then solder, but get some YouTube comments about let's do pre-tin your wire and slide it in there, and it may actually make it easier to get it in there and to get it to hold. So I am going to try that this time. See if we can put it back into focus here. I want to make sure that it's really smooth here, that way I can get it inside the little connector there. So I don't want too much in there. I believe someone had commented about going ahead and filling this up with solder and then trying it. So we're going to try that. See if that helps me get it in the nice good solder joint in there. That up nice and you know what, that actually does work pretty good there. Pretty good tip for my YouTubers, my subscribers. That does make it a little bit easier. Made them a lot easier. That's a pretty good tip there. And then, like I said, make sure you keep this double on there until this cools down, so you don't, so them pins don't get out of line. Let that cool down. And then I'm going to get some heat shrink tubing and put on there. Now I usually kind of come up here to about right there where it pulls off, shrink tight that. Just kind of keep some stress off of these joints right here. Mess with this all the time. Hopefully that helps a little bit. But yeah, I've never really had any problems ever since I started doing them this way. And you put a little bit right there if you haven't seen that already. And go ahead and heat shrink this here. Also, another thing about heat shrinking this right here, it gives you a better grip on the XT60 when you're trying to pull your battery out. It gives you kind of like a slip, anti-slip there. So, but yeah, that's a good XT60 tail there for my ESCs. So.